All right, we should be live now. What is up, everyone? Happy Wednesday. How y'all doing? We have a lot of people chilling in chat pre-stream. We have like 30 something so far before the stream started, so we have been having some good conversations going on. What is up? We got Jucifer, Shauner, Drebler, aka Jason, aka the Troll of Jawa, Andrew Woodford, Lucky X Gaming. Let's see, we have Kevin Ngo in the house who did post a Best Buy $390. It should be in the pinned comments. A Best Buy RTX 3060 for under 400 bucks. I think that's the cheapest one available right now. Newegg has some for 400. But let's see, Master Singleton. What's up everyone? Hope everyone had, for the people in the US anyways, hope everyone had a good 3-day weekend if, you know, your work or school let you off on Monday. It was just Memorial Day for those of you who did not know. But, yeah. Most of my weekend was spent packing and moving stuff, as you probably have seen in the thumbnail of this stream, as well as the title. And I'll get into all of that in a little bit. But right now, we're just going to chill. We're going to wait for people to get into the stream. And we're just going to hang out in chat for a bit. Hey, what's up, Christopher Coonan? Glad to see you in stream this week. Sadly, the day of MSRP for computer parts is long gone. That depends. Would you say the MSRP for a 6600, which is 330 bucks, or an RTX? Bro, I guess for the RTX 3060, it has not come back down to the MSRP pricing yet. So that's not true. But for the AMD cards, all of them, I think right now can be found for MSRP. If not, maybe like 50 bucks more for an AIB. Like, we have we have RX 6600s. You can buy them right now from Amazon for 300 bucks, which is 10% less than the MSRP technically is. So, I'm curious to see the next generation of graphics cards and processors in terms of, yeah, are they gonna stick to MSRP, or are we gonna see this launch day like premium hike that we've been seeing? It's weird because the pandemic, while it's not completely over, it seems like its effect on the PC market is kind of like drowning out now. So we'll see. Oh yeah, let me where's that? Thanks for the reminder, Kevin. Hey, Toasty Bros in here? Way, what is up? I'm assuming that's gonna be Matt, unless someone else controls the social media account. What's up, Toasty Bros? Or unless it's all of you there. We're just chilling right now. There might be a little scalping at the very beginning. People tend to scalp new GPUs on the other. Yeah, I mean, I think GPU scalping, if I remember correctly, even before the pandemic, GPU scalping was a thing because no matter what, on launch day, for as long as I can remember, most products go, you know, out of stock because there's always such a high demand, especially for graphics cards and sometimes processors. So what happens is people will buy it at MSRP and then will scalp it, even though availability isn't a huge issue. It's just that there are other people out there who don't want to wait an additional week or two for the stock to replenish. So there has always been scalping, just not to the levels that we have seen in the past 2 years. So yeah, it's Matt. Hey, what's up? Life is going good for me indeed. Thanks for stopping by the way. Oh, we got Coalition Gaming Chris in the house as well. Chris is going to be sending me a camera that I'm buying from him. It should be higher quality than this one, so I might look to sell this one or keep this as a backup. But yeah, Chris had a video about Sony mirrorless cameras recently and how to use them as a webcam, and he accidentally somehow ended up with 2 because one of them didn't get shipped out for a while. So he's selling me his second one for the price that he paid for it. So yeah, I'm excited to try that out. Kevin Gomes says, I'll check out the DDR setup tomorrow, likely at the Barcade. Heck yeah, let me know which version of DDR they have. Honestly, I haven't played DDR in the arcade probably since the first LAN party stories, which was back in 2016. Or was that the, like, it was one of the older ones, 2016 or 2017. DDR, I like the songs from the old versions, so I'm not sure if I could play on the newer machines. They've changed it up too in terms of like difficulty level and stuff, but oh, I should tweet this out. I should tweet that I am live. Traveler says, I was really good at DDR before I got fat. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Where you play, what songs could you do? And was it on heavy mode? What is your definition of good? I'm actually not a really good DDR player. I can do a lot like songs on heavy, like 8, 9, maybe 1 or 2 10 feet songs, but yeah, I'm sure the newer DDR stuff is super difficult. But let's see. Okay, so we're about 5 minutes in streams. We can still keep hanging out and chilling, but I do want to put up the membership appreciation shout out. As always, thank you all for, you know, supporting what I do here on the channel. Everything, all the channel membership stuff that goes right back into the channel. But we don't forget, if you do have channel membership, feel free to spam emojis. And I do not consider that spam. I need to get, so the number of emojis I can have is based on how many members I have. So as we get more members, I will commission more emojis. But the ones that we have right now are pretty fun, though. Man, please do not cancel me over the gun one with the tragedies that have gone on recently. Heavy and extreme, nice. We gotta have a DDR battle sometimes. I should do a DDR stream one of these days. I have the pads and stuff. I just need to set up the game on my computer because I don't keep it actively downloaded and the song library up to date. Oh, no, Andrew Woodford, don't, no. I mean, Andrew, I would totally make you a mod too, because you are one of the long-running viewers and supporters of the channel. Yeah, I'm totally down to make you a mod, just because I also do trust your judgment in terms of comment removal. Honestly, I think of modship as like, it's a thankless job, even though I do try to think of my mods as much as possible. But, yeah, you know what? We're gonna make. I'm gonna have like more moderators than I have normal viewers and channel members, but there you go. I trust a lot of you guys in the chat if you don't realize. But also, if I give you mod privileges, do not feel obligated to have to be a mod. Like, it's more of there's a lot of people that are frequent viewers of the channel and that I do trust to be able to remove bad comments instantly. So having more mods, you know, keeps more eyes on the chat, in case other mods are either AFK or just not there for the stream. So yeah. And then drink the water. Thanks for the reminder. So, okay. So today's stream, I want to do a couple stuff. I want to talk about what's going on in real life for me at the moment, because for the next 3 or 4 weeks, I'm not gonna have access really to the main floor of my house, because we're doing a remodel. So I'll show you a little bit of what's going on there. So yeah, next 3 to 4 weeks, I'm either eating microwavable food, air fried food, or we're just gonna be eating out, because I'm not gonna have access to a sink, a stove, none of that. The kitchen is gonna be demolished. My wife and I wanted to. It was more of my wife. It was more of Melissa, honestly. She really wanted to remodel the kitchen, and I promised her we would one day after we bought the house. And then I figured, like, this is gonna be our forever home, so why not get the remodel done now so we can enjoy more years of it, as opposed to, you know, some people they wait a really long time to do remodeling and they don't get to enjoy, you know, the fruits of its labor for as long. So we've been saving up a lot of money, and we've been working hard. So I said, you know what, let's do it. So that's what we're doing, and that's what the thumbnail is all about. That's why there's nothing in my main floor, and I'll show you in a bit. But afterwards, I do want to build an X dollar PC. We can run a poll, and we'll vote on how much money we want the PC to be, just to help someone out. We also had someone else in chat earlier. They'll be back. They were looking for a $750 PC. Seaner actually made a really cool list, so I want to take a look at this and then go through it and see if there's anything that we could move around. But then afterwards, we'll get to the usual user submissions. If any of you all have any questions, if you want to showcase your PC, your setup, if you have PC part picker list you want us to look over on the stream, we can do that. And it's just going to be a pretty chill stream. Tommy TX, are you asking me, how old are you? You look young. Dude, I'm turning 33 at the end of June. My birthday is in June. So I'm turning 33. I'm getting to the point where I'm forgetting what my age is, because like after certain ages, you kind of, there's nothing really significant about it, right? Like when you turn 20, well, first when you turn 18, that's a huge milestone for most people. So that's like you're becoming an adult. Then when you're 21, you can do things like drink and I guess smoke weed if it's legal in your state. Then when you're 25, insurance for cars drops, like the price of insurance, as well as you can rent a car a lot easier. I think a lot of places do require 25 years old to rent cars, right? And then like the next one would be 30 years old, because that's a 10-year milestone. But after that, it's like, what's the point of keeping track anymore? So I, for a second there, almost forgot that I am not 33 yet. I thought I was already 33. Yeah, see? Like, once you pass a certain age, it's just like you just forget. And honestly, I don't really usually do big things for my birthday celebrations. It's more of my wife wants to, like, take me out to do something or something. Like, she definitely likes celebrating birthdays, so she usually does something nice for me. But I don't ever, like, make it a point to try to, like, get people together or do anything like that. Everyone's just too busy nowadays, right? Like, Coalition Gaming says, was 34, 35 for me. Just blends. Yeah, I'm getting to the point where all the ages just blending together. Abye Baraka DK says, my channel is dying. Yeah, so my channel is actually kind of struggling right now. I wouldn't say the channel is dying, because I am still getting good sponsorship deals, and I still have like a pretty active stream, and there's views are still coming in. But Abye V, I can understand that you clearly have no idea how difficult it is to run a YouTube channel, because a lot of tech channels around my size right now are struggling. Like, no matter what content we put out, like the viewership isn't as high as it was before, but I still do have the fan base that still comes back, and I'm still able to do it and have fun with it. So yeah, I wouldn't say the channel is dying. Like, look at the membership support list, and look how many people are just viewing stream right now. Like, just ignore subscriber count. That's not even a big thing. But yeah, even after the thing is, even after the GPU shortage ended, I think the YouTube algorithm definitely did something in terms of, like, there are so many channels I've seen where they're pumping out the same content, we're pumping out build videos, etc. and stuff like that. And it's definitely the case of YouTube is not showing our stuff, because I still get comments regularly that people aren't even aware my channel still exists, because they don't get the video notifications or anything like that, and they have to come search for me. So yeah, views are down for most creators. Yeah, so we have confirmation from other channels here too. Geico thought I was 17 to 18. Dude, I've been saying this. If they were casting people for a movie, I could be one of those 30-something-year-olds that can still play a high school student. Hey, what's up, Joel? Heading to the gym. All right, have a good workout, Andrew. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. So let me take away. Nope, not that. Okay, so let me turn on the lights real quick. So as I mentioned earlier, we're remodeling our house, just the main floor, not the basement here where my studio is, and not the upstairs where all the rooms and stuff is. But we're doing the main floor. Right now it's like a mix of carpet and hardwood, and then our kitchen feels a little bit dated. So for the next 3 to 4 weeks, we're gonna have people in here, contractors that are going to redo the kitchen and stuff. So for the last, like I was saying, for Memorial Day weekend, the last like 3 or 4 days, we have just been packing everything up, been moving as much as we can out of the main floor, which is, thankfully I have this studio where I can like put a bunch of stuff, and I'll show you in a little bit. But I can't imagine like what I would have done if I didn't have the space to put everything else, like the extra space. So I was lucky in that regard. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go on my phone and I'm gonna give you a tour of the main floor, as well as what it looks like down here, because it is a complete mess right here. But yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and give a quick little tour of that. So this is what upstairs is looking like right now. Go up here. Everything on the main level, we've pretty much packed up. So we had sofas, TV, and stuff here, and we still have some boxes that we need to move out of here. But for the most part, everything has been taken out because, yeah, the whole kitchen's gonna be redone, and all the floors are gonna be redone. We're gonna have one, instead of like having the carpet, hardwood, and then carpet break, it's gonna be all hard flooring. But yeah, so we just gotta finish some stuff up tonight, but we're pretty much done. Most of everything is gone and empty in the shelves. And then here in the formal dining room, this is all empty as well. So yeah, pretty much in about a month, hopefully this looks completely different. And what we had to do is pretty much store everything. The rest of the stuff in the kitchen is gonna have to come in here, but we're storing as much as we can in the garage. We need to leave some space because the people who are gonna be installing everything, they need space to do work, like to be able to cut stuff and set up their tools. So that's all the cabinet stuff, and then the flooring's behind it. But basically everything else had to go down in the basement. Everything else had to be down here in the basement where my space is. So I moved all my stuff to the side, but you see here, we have all the furniture. We have 2 sets of couches down here. Here's the TV, but all, like, this is our formal dining table taken apart, with the back over there, and then all like the chairs and all that stuff. And over here we have all the couch cushions. So that's those 2 sofas worth of like couch cushions we've thrown on top of this right here. But yeah, so this is what down here is gonna look like for the next 3 to 4 weeks. But yeah, that's pretty much what's going on. Yeah, so that's pretty much what's going on basically. Let me turn off the lights. Let me turn the lights back off. Yeah, but okay, so let's see comments. I wasn't able to read the comments the entire time, but let's see. Master Singleton says hardwood floors I found is really difficult to maintain. So we're not going hardwood. Did I say hardwood? We're actually going vinyl, LVP, luxury vinyl plank. Hardwood is way more expensive, and yeah, I don't want to deal with like scratches and stuff, because the only way you can deal with that is to kind of basically resurface it and reapply the finish. But we're going with like high durability vinyl. Someone asked, am I moving? Yeah, no, so I'm not moving. We're just getting it remodeled, and everything has to go because we're doing the floors. I think the floors is the most difficult thing. Like, if we only redid the kitchen, we could have removed everything to the sides, but we want like no carpet. I'm pretty much over carpet. Like, it stains when you're vacuuming, there's so much more crap that gets stuck in carpet. It's way easier just to have hardwood so you can like sweep and not have to deal with if something spills, it's staining. Plus, my wife, she developed adult allergies, so we're hoping that going carpet, at least on the main floor, would help a little bit with the allergies, and depending on how that goes, we might go hardwood upstairs as well, but we'll see. Am I gonna lower the counters? No, we're not gonna be lowering the counters, but we are gonna be keeping the hardwood, so the vinyl will add some thickness to height. So in terms of the counter height, it should be a little bit lower as a result. Where did I get the cable organizers? Oh, the cable organizers that I use, it's, if you go on Amazon and look at shoe rack, like door hanging shoe rack stuff, that's what I use. I think if actually you go to my Luster creators page, I think I have that linked down there too. Carpets decompose over time. I'm very curious to see what the carpets look like underneath, because normally, so our house is 20 something years old. I believe it's the original carpets. That many years of just stuff getting underneath the carpets. I'm very curious when they pull it out, how nasty it's gonna be. But yeah. Let's see. Yeah, wood is definitely easier to clean. And like, so my mom got me, there was like this sale on Roombas, and she got it for like 70 bucks or something. She got us like a Roomba vacuum, and it's great on hardwood, but on carpet it's not that good. So if everything is hardwood, like if you have like a robotic vacuum or whatever, in terms of maintaining, it would work a lot better. So we'll see. 44-minute drive home, 17 miles. Shoot me, says Chris. That sucks. Okay, so let's, in terms of there's nothing new in terms of graphics card pricing, so let's take a look at so this is the list that Shauner put together. We'll take a look at this in a second, but I mean, in terms of graphics cards pricing, week after week everything has been pretty much the same. I was not up for midweek madness this week, but if we try to look at graphics cards, yeah, we're seeing the same stuff, like 3050s for 270 from EVGA. Nothing changing there. On Newegg side of things, I took a look earlier. Like I said, right now Best Buy has it for $390, which is 10 bucks cheaper than here. Actually, it might be a little bit more cheaper, because on Newegg, for me anyways, there's a $10 shipping cost. But RTX 3060s still are well above the MSRP by about 20%, it looks like. So it's still a great time to build a computer right now, though, despite the new generation of stuff coming out later this year. Like, I wouldn't wait. Actually, so this weekend's video is going to be my build update, so you'll see what's in that and what I chose to do. But in terms of graphics card stuff, there's like really no issues in terms of pricing. Even for $400, like, you could still build a very solid $1,000 PC using this right here. Oh yeah, so Shauner, yeah, definitely, you put this together super fast. There are some stuff in here that we could change out to lower the price if necessary, but overall it's very solid, just taking a first pass through here. Jalen McGarry says, I should have gotten a 6700 XT instead of a 3060. So that's gonna be an interesting point in my video coming up this weekend. EVGA versus AMD, which I'm not gonna spoil it now, but yeah, that's gonna be one of the main talking points in the video for my next build. K-Dub Pink L, what is the most expensive part you have accidentally broken? Okay, so story time, and I'm curious if any of y'all have stories too, be sure to let me know in the comments. So the most expensive part I have accidentally broken is a graphics card. I don't remember what year this was. I would have to look through my emails and my RMAs and stuff, but what happened was I was building a PC. This was probably like around 2013, 2014. Or no, I was upgrading my PC, so I upgraded the motherboard and things like that. And I mistakenly plugged in the wrong and I have a video about this on the channel too, but I mistakenly plugged in the wrong connector into a fan header on the motherboard. It was from the power supply. It was a 4-pin connector from the power supply. I don't know what I was thinking, but it fit where the fan header went. I don't know if I mistakenly thought it was a fan cable and I grabbed it and plugged it in, or if I was just being super stupid. But what happened is, you know, a fan header, it supplies power to the fans. But what I did was I took a power supply cable and I plugged it, a 4-pin connector. I don't even know what that 4-pin connector is because it's never used on the power supply in modern day systems. But I plugged it into the 4-pin fan header, so that sent power into the into the motherboard. There was a loud pop, and the motherboard died, as well as my graphics card died. Like, somehow, whatever happened, it sent power to my graphics card and it killed it. It made it so that anytime I turned on the computer, there was no signal from the graphics card, and my graphics card fans spun at 100% no matter what I did. So, at the time, I think the graphics card was a 6870. It was a Radeon 6870. So, whatever year that was. No, it wasn't the Molex connectors, because that doesn't fit in the fan. Let me see if I can find it. Unless it's the, is there, let's see, PSU 4-pin connector. Let me see if I can find it. It's not the 4-pin Molex. It was this one right here. So it wasn't this Molex. Are these also considered Molex? Yeah, I think it's the floppy. I think it's the floppy disk power. This right here, yeah, I think it's floppy disk, which is why, that's why it's never used anymore. And I'm not even, do they even have these on modern power supplies anymore? Yeah, so it was the floppy drive connector, because this was like 10 years ago. So power supplies still had these. But this can fit onto this can fit onto a 4-pin fan header. Like, you can go try it if you want. It fits. So, yeah, so that's what happened. I destroyed the graphics card. I'm trying to think. I know I filed for the RMA. I don't remember if they took it back or not. I think they did. I would have to look back through the history a bit. But yeah, so that was stupid on my part. What are your guys's? Kale130 says, I don't think I'm going to buy an NVIDIA card again, honestly. Really? Is it just because of the price or what? AMD is doing really good on pricing. I would agree with that. And I do have more things to say, but I want to save it for the video. So I floppied the motherboard. Yes, that is what I did. Let's see. What did you do? Yeah, it was bad. I don't remember like how expensive the system was at the time, but it was a pretty pricey mistake, I think. Don Hien says, hey Danny, I got a 6650 XT for 400 CAD, which is 315 USD recently, and was wondering if that's the best deal. What the best deal I ever gotten was it my 1070? I think, yeah, at the time, I think my GTX 1070 was probably one of the best deals I ever gotten, considering how high they were going for during the first mining boom, and I got it for 200 bucks, and it was basically brand new. I think they were going for much more at the time, so... Other than that, I've gotten some price mistake items where I've gotten things for like 33% of their value, but I don't think that's as exciting as a graphics card. But yeah. Alright, so Coalition Gaming, Chris, the camera ETA is Saturday. Nice. So, next week, the stream, I should have that set up ready to go. Thank you, Chris, and I need to pay you on PayPal still. $750 PCPartPicker mini contest. Yeah, we might be able to do that. Once we get to the submission stage. Maybe if people wanted to submit that, we can get to it after we help people out who actually have like questions. But Shauner says, not gonna lie, I think the most expensive thing I've killed was an ARGB fan. Touched some of the 5-volt connectors together while it was on, and it killed the fan. I did drop a 3100 and bend some pins, but you fixed that, lol. Yeah, so that's a pretty cheap mistake. ARGB fan. Oh, that's another thing. I've never done this personally, but I've heard people accidentally plugging in like a 12-volt RGB fan into a 5-volt ARGB header, or like the controllers or something, and that has messed up systems. So be very careful about your RGB and ARGB headers. Make sure you have the right one, 5-volt versus 12-volt, addressable versus not, anytime you plug something in. So be careful about that. Phantom Gaming For You says, dude, I remember when my CPU cooler got stuck to my CPU because the thermal paste, which is totally a thing that happens all the time, was hard as a rock, and I decided just to pull it out. The CPU was still locked into the socket. It pulled everything out. So that's another problem I've had before. I've never damaged anything from it, but yeah. It's just AMD because of their what is it? Their PGA, their pin grid array socketing, and the pins being on the CPU side. So yeah, what you need to do there typically is turn on the computer for a bit to heat up the CPU, then afterwards turn it off and twist it. Never pull directly out for a CPU cooler. You gotta twist and you gotta break that seal. But yeah. Kevin Go says, I destroyed my front USB 3.0 header. That cable yeah, I actually did that recently, where the so we look at what a 3-pin USB 3.0 header. So everyone, or maybe hopefully most people, are familiar with what a USB 3.0 connector looks like. A lot of the times motherboards are not designed well in terms, let me see if I can find these pictures, but this is what it looks like. They get stuck, like, more times than not. The USB 3.0 header and the connector, they just do not want to come apart. And I'm trying to find pictures of what it looks like, because I recently did this like 1 or 2 weeks ago, where after I pulled it out, basically the whole housing came with it. I was able to get it back in there, but for USB 3.0, there's definitely a trick to getting them out. And you basically have to wiggle them side to side, almost like in a rocking motion. Like, you gotta rock them this way a little bit before pulling it out. But yeah, I've definitely had issues with USB 3.0, but I've been able to fix it, fortunately. Will you ever do something like Greg Salazar and his Fix or Flop series? Yeah, so I've been trying to gauge, like, not only just the tech YouTube space, but just the YouTube space in general. And there's other stuff similar to Greg's Flip or Flop, where basically you provide a service to your community, and basically you get content out of it and you don't charge it, and then the people get like a free computer fix or whatever. So I was thinking about maybe starting up something like that. I don't want to give the idea out yet, because until I do it, I don't want it to be like someone else ends up doing it, because it'll be different than Greg's. But I don't want people to be like, oh, you copied this other person who started doing it. So I'm going to keep the idea under wraps until I do it. But it would definitely, I would definitely be down for doing stuff like that more, because I do need to start looking into other forms of content, because just build videos aren't performing well, not only on my channel, but across YouTube. Like, graphics cards and parts are readily available, super easy to buy now, but the budget build videos and stuff like that aren't doing as well as they used to. John Lawrence says, I got a 2070 Super last night from Midweek Madness for $381 after tax. Was that a decent deal? That seems a little expensive for a used 2070 Super. Okay, maybe I gotta take that back. It's hard to speak on the past generation. I would say, what's the 6600 XT? See, what I would say is, you can get a 6600 XT for around that price right now. And it's gonna be brand new, current gen, but it's AMD. So some people just do not want AMD, and you're not gonna find any current gen NVIDIA card for that cheap. The closest would be the RTX 3060. I don't recall how close the 2070 Super and 3060 are. I think the 2070 Super performs a little bit better. So it's hard to say. I don't think you got a bad price at all. $400, you got a graphics card that performed very well. Jalen said, you should do an IRL collab with peeps like Joey Delgado, Oz, Greg. Yeah, dude, I'm totally down to do IRL collabs. It's just hard with how much it costs to travel and board and stuff like that, room and board, etc. Unless I like stay with one of them, it's hard to like justify the traveling when right now video views are not bringing enough to like cover the cost of that. So I think the next LTX that happens, that's gonna definitely be a big collab weekend. Everyone I think is gonna be going to LTX 2023, and yeah, I'm sure there's gonna be collabs planned for that. But unless you're already in an area naturally for something else, it's hard to justify just a trip like that. Okay, let's see. My least favorite. I'm not sure if I have a least favorite GPU brand. But okay. Is the person who wanted a $750 PC in the house right now? Because otherwise, let's go to Slick Deals real quick. And see what they have. Graphics card wise, or PC hardware wise, what I'm seeing is like an RTX 3080 for $800. We've been seeing this, so this isn't that special of a deal. I think I can go to, where's PCs? Tech is Computer Tech. Really? Computer Tech is not on here? Computers, here we go. What's the difference between AMD and Nvidia, or is it like Apple and Android? Huh. That's a good question. So chat, do you think the comparison of Apple and Android and their fanboys is very similar to AMD and Nvidia? Or is it a lot different when it comes to the PC tech space? I would say in terms of fanboyism, it's very similar. In terms of ecosystem, somewhat similar. So AMD and Nvidia each have their own suite of like software for you to do things like stream, record, like Nvidia Shadowplay versus AMD. It's not called Relive anymore. What is the AMD one called? But whatever their recording software is called. So they have their own, but I wouldn't consider that like a full ecosystem. Like, because there's stuff like you could use OBS, but then that would be similar to WhatsApp, right? Like with Apple and Android, there's definitely, I'm not an Apple fanboy at all. I use an Android phone, but I can see why people like Apple, even though it does kind of come at a premium. The iMessaging is actually very nice because that uses the internet and not just whatever the heck text messaging goes over. Because Android, if you text, this is a big problem. I've seen people complain on it. On Android phones, if you are texting another person using just basic text messaging and you try to send a video or a picture, over text messages, you have a limited amount of data you can send. It's capped at, I forgot how many kilobytes or even megabytes, but it's gonna compress that, so the person who gets on the other side is like crap quality. Whereas with Apple iMessage, it's very much like an internet app like Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp or something, where it uses like internet and sends it over in the full quality. So that people in their iMessage groups and stuff, I can see why people want to stay with Apple, but I can't come up with a similar argument when it comes to AMD versus Nvidia. Like, aside from NVIDIA Shadowplay and NVENC encoder, which, let's be honest, a lot of people who build their systems, even though they choose NVIDIA, a lot of times they have high-end CPUs that can handle CPU encoding as well. So I don't completely buy NVENC encoder for the premium buying it an NVIDIA product. And driver support and stability too, I do a lot of testing when I build these systems using AMD cards. I test multiple titles and I test for a long time when I do the benchmarking. I have not come across like any amount of crashing with AMD cards in the last few years that is like notable enough to talk about. So, let's see. Shauner says, I think there is some similarity for NVIDIA AMD as Android to Apple. You could use it to show to someone in the PC space, but aside from the entry level description, I'd say not really. Yeah, I agree with that. Who even texts anymore? I still text. What do people use now? Discord? The issue is I'm kind of a boomer, right? I would say anyone above their 30s is a boomer. Not everyone in my life uses Discord, so I cannot just message them on Discord or Twitter DMs or whatever the heck. Like, a lot of people in my life Man, we still use Facebook Messenger for my main group of friends. Like my two main group of friends, high school friends and college friends. We haven't hopped over to Discord yet, so yeah, I definitely still text. We have WhatsApp, etc. Yeah, I never got on the WhatsApp train. Actually, that's a good poll we should run right now. Do you use traditional text messaging or apps like WhatsApp? You have to use Slack for work. My work doesn't use Slack. Yeah, my work uses email. It's old school. Like, we don't even text for work. It's email. You send smoke signals from the hill above your place. Ransack says, I personally hate Discord. I like Discord. I just haven't fully adopted it, and it's hard to get everyone in like my circle in my life to get on it. So that's why I still have to use all these other apps. I do use Discord for the people that I talk to Discord with, like mostly my TechTuber friends and stuff. Yeah, I use Discord with them, but I still got to keep all the other old stuff. Oh, for both. True. No, if you use both, which one do you use more? Just vote for the one you use more. Is that what? This is water. Man, if I put ice, melted ice into here with vodka, that'd be not a good drink. Jalen, do you work for Amazon? You're saying Amazon is trying to transition from Amazon Chime to Slack for some reason. Chime works. I've never even heard of Chime. Is that like the internal Amazon thing? Slightly flavored vodka. Nah. I rarely drink actually. If I want like a buzz feeling or a non-sober experience, I would not turn to alcohol. Let's just say that. But I rarely like do anything, like whether it be drinking or like smoking or any of that. Yeah, I don't do it often. Definitely not for stream, because I gotta be here 100%. I cannot imagine myself being intoxicated during a stream. Actually, so there's a saying where until all the ice is completely melted, the drink is still cool. I know that's not true. There's some thermodynamics behind it, but as long as there's still some ice in it, it has not really warmed up yet. So, I don't think I need to add any more ice though. Let's see. Google Chat works on both. We used to use Google Chat too, but yeah, we kind of stopped, and it was only like a handful of friends. But if we look at the poll, there is still a decent split between people who are still using just traditional, like, you know, text messaging, whatever, like traditional text messaging. So the poll is still there, Chris. I think it's still there. I can end the poll right now, but it should still be there. I think you might have just deleted it on your screen, but it's still here. Drebler uses Zanga. Let's see. Yeah, so we were talking about NBA versus AMD. Wait for the weekend's video to see what my opinion on AMD graphics cards are. But I think I want AMD to take more of a market share. One, because their price to performance is great right now. But two, because it just drives competition. You know, when companies are closer together, they both are gonna, or the three of them, if Intel's gonna enter the competition now, they're all gonna be working a lot harder than if they had a lead, right? So I'm all for the company that's currently considered the underdog to do well. AOL Instant Messenger, yeah. In my opinion, NVIDIA, or this is Amex. In my opinion, NVIDIA is more expensive, but more performance. I mean, that's true in terms of if you look at the top available card, which not most people. If you only care about the most expensive most top performing card, then yeah, you could say Nvidia is winning with the 3090 Ti, right? But most people don't operate in that range. Most people operate in the lower, like anywhere from $200 to $500 price range, where there's going to be a number of AMD and Nvidia cards that you can buy. And not only that, right now, like what we're saying, AMD per dollar you spend, you're going to get more frames per second. But then we were talking about the ecosystem of like Nvidia Shadowplay, NVENC encoder, as well as DLSS and stuff. But we have FSR from AMD side, so it's like a back and forth. Nvidia is more optimized. In what game though? I would have to take a look at all the data, but there are games where AMD is more optimized and you get better performance for a similar level card. Hey Kelby, welcome to the Nerd on a Big Budget membership. Thank you for the support. Also, I totally forgot. I'm gonna, oh man, how many do we have? Okay, we have a couple that we need to go through while I still hang out with chat, but we did have some memberships and membership renewals. So we're gonna go through all of that. So enjoy the Mancrotty BitTune music. But thank you to all the support, for all the people. We're gonna play all those because there are people who donate and who like join membership off of stream. So I do want them to be recognized here. Like this has happened in between last week's stream and this stream. So we'll get going through here. Rodolfo says, I switched from Nvidia to AMD, no regrets. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of people like that, but there's like a vocal minority who seems to speak up about like stability issues on AMD side and things like that. If you like look up like forum posts and Reddit posts and things like that. Jalen says AMD's raw rasterization performance is actually fantastic, which is true. They lose out on ray tracing, which most people don't use, which is also true. Oh yeah, we should let's see. Yeah, no regrets. Let's run another poll. We're gonna run another poll. But AMD drivers sucks. People will never go away. That's probably true. I wouldn't doubt that. Hey, what's up, Joker, aka Mr. Clyburn? The 3050 is pretty much robbery when the 6600 exists. Agreed there. Though we are starting to see 3050 prices on EVJB stock for like less than what you can get 6600 for. So then there's going to be a compelling reason to get it in that case. But I ran a poll asking if you have a ray tracing capable GPU, do you turn on ray tracing most of the time? And there is an option for if you don't have a capable GPU or if you just want to see the results. But right now, it looks like the winning answer is no, people do not turn on ray tracing. Which, why would you when you take a huge performance hit? Shauner has a 3080 and almost never uses ray tracing. Yep. I mean, I've been using this RTX 2060 in my system for the last few years. And I've never turned on ray tracing in a game, like, ever. Except for when I was testing it to make the video initially. But afterwards, never ever turn on ray tracing. Andrew Woodford says he forgets ray tracing exists for months at a time. Yeah. A late tuber just said, I just ordered my PC parts today. What did you order? Alright. While we look at those, and while y'all are voting, in terms of slick deals, I'm not sure how many people are into laptops, but nope. I don't know. I don't like looking at laptops that don't have dedicated graphics cards. I'm sure there are use cases for having a powerful, slim, power efficient laptop, but when they're like $700+ I myself just kind of expect them to have a dedicated graphics card. Otherwise, why bother and why not just go for like a lower end, like $400 laptop? I know there's use cases for the high end dedicated GPU less laptops. Corsair is having a sale on their iQOO H100i. How much is this normally? These are normally like 100, right? Let's see what Corsair says the normal price is, whether or not you think it's worth it. But 67 for an all white AIO, yeah, seems pretty cheap. Is this $50 off? Cool 50? I would assume so. So I'm guessing it's over $100. If this will ever load. Why don't you load? Okay, let's see what does chat have to say. If it's a single player game, you definitely turn it on, like Control. Would you rather turn it on, or would you rather keep your high resolution, higher frame rate? Unless I guess you're not aiming for over 60. Okay, here we go. All right. So here's the deal right here. It's taking forever to load in for whatever reason, but this H100i Elite, the white version, refurbished, goes for $135. I mean, Corsair, I know you've helped out on the channel, and I'm gonna be making some stuff with you soon. But $135 for a refurbished white cooler. So yeah, 67, not so bad. 135 for refurbished. What's going on here? Okay, Lucky X Gaming. Yes, you're back. We will look at your parts list in a bit here. Jucifer says, I just RTX on single player games with DLSS. Yeah, so DLSS does save the day a lot of the time. Yeah, that's true. I agree in that. I agree there. But imagine if you didn't have ray tracing and you enabled DLSS. All the frames in the world. 240 plus, baby. Christopher Coonan will aim for 30 to 60 depending on the game. FPS elements, 60 or better. Anything else? 30 is okay, 60 is still better. And you play Fortnite max at 4K at 120 FPS. Really? 4K Fortnite at, you get 120 FPS with your, don't you have the 1080 Ti, Chris? Or am I forgetting? Did I forget if you upgraded your card? Hey, what's up, Pinky Tech? My week is going great. How is your week going? Welcome to the stream. We're just hanging out, chilling, talking about random tech stuff, as well as trying to look at deals that won't load on my computer for some reason. We're trying to look at this, what looks to be an overpriced Corsair cooler until you apply this coupon code and you can get it for $67 for people who want a white AIO. But that's not working for whatever reason. Oh yeah, 3070. Okay. I'm not gonna be testing at 4K in this coming video, but and you never use DLSS. If I can't play native res, you don't care. Okay. Living the dream. That's what we all try to do, right? Okay, so all right, Chris is going to dinner. So we had someone ask a question. Where were they at? Lucky X Gaming. They had $750 to spend on a PC. Then they found a system from CLX Gaming. So let's see if we can pull that up. So we're getting to the build advice portion of the stream. So if you do have anything to submit over to the Twitter side of things, directions are down below. Please state your YouTube username so I can know how to address you on YouTube side of things. But yeah, give us many details if you want to get advice on what to upgrade in your build, or if you have PCPartPicker list, please give the link to the PCPartPicker list, not just an image of it. If you want to showcase your PC or setup, be sure to submit that to Twitter right now. Information down below. But while you all do that, we're going to take a look and try to help out Lucky X Gaming, who had a question, and I thought it would be good to do. Which now we might not be able to build an $X PC part picker list. But this is the PC that they wanted to look at. So $750, and we can take a look at it and see what it comes with. I've actually not looked into too many CLX gaming PC builds, but they seem like one of the many companies out there, similar to NZXT BLD, similar to Meta PC, similar to Origin, CyberPower, iBuyPower. The list goes on. But we take a look at this, the chassis. So the main chassis actually doesn't look bad. I've actually not seen. Oh, I can't even look at it to zoom in. But okay, it comes with the for $750 from a system integrator. It's definitely gonna be a 5600G build. So that's not surprising at all. So it's a 5600G build. And what's the rest of the core components? Okay. So we have that for nothing on the graphics card. The motherboard, you're getting an A520 board. Yep, how much RAM? Please tell me it's 16 gigabytes. It is 16 gigabytes, so we're good here. 3200 megahertz, that's fine. Power supply is a Gamdius Kratos. I don't know too much about the whole line of Gamdius power supplies. If we were to look at the tier list, the Kratos is... The Kratos M1 is an E tier avoid. So there's that. I'm not going to be too harsh on them because this is an APU build. This is going to run it just fine. But if you want to upgrade in the future, a power supply like this, according to the tier list for a quick reference, is located in the E tier. I would have to look further into it to see why it is. But this could be potentially a dangerous power supply, or at least one that doesn't last long. So if we look to power supplies, let's look at hard drives. You have a 500 gigabyte SSD, and then that's about it for the rest of the system. So this build right here for $750, I don't think CLX is completely ripping off the customer by selling it at this price, because, you know, they have their build fee included into everything. But if you're willing to build your own system, you could build something way better. And this is what Shauner, who's in the chat right now and one of the stream moderators, this is what he put together in like 5 minutes, and I took a quick look over it, and I would agree. So we're taking a look at a build right here that has a dedicated graphics card. This has a 6600 in it, and it comes in right now for $750. So same price as the CLX build, but remember, CLX builds sends you the system and gives you like this all-in-one warranty. If you build your own system, if you have any DOA parts or if you do something wrong, mess it up, that's on you. But that's okay, because building a PC, if you're up for the challenge, is not too difficult if you watch enough videos to help you out. But if we look at this parts list, for $750, you get a dedicated, really good graphics card for the price. And you get a decent CPU. If you want to, you could switch both of these up, and you can go Intel i3 12100F. It'll be around the same price. You get a little bit expensive of a motherboard, but the price of the CPU will go down a bit. Everything else here looks solid though. $54 on 16 gigabyte of DDR4 memory. You have a 500 gigabyte SSD here as well. You get this Cougar case, which I'm not the hugest fan of, but it's up to you. If you want to spend more money to get a slightly nicer case, feel free. But this is, you know, it has airflow in the front. It has tempered glass. Other than that, it's a budget case that doesn't cost that much. It holds all your parts together and gives you a power button to start it up. And then in terms of the power supply, so Shauner chose the EVGA GD. So this is the 2019 model on the tier. This is like a perfectly capable power supply. This one, in terms of the tier list, it is a C tier, which if you guys remember, I'm completely okay with. This one is 600 watts for $54. Now, there are some alternatives. I think if we look on Amazon right now, the Asus TUF 650 watt is a favorite. Sean is... This one's going for $5 more. You can get a B tier and 50 more watts. Or, if you don't want to do that, you can get the 550 watt power supply for $48. So you get 50 less watts, but it is a little bit cheaper, and this is also a B tier power supply. So that would be the only things I would change, but as is, this list is good enough. I'm going to link this in chat in case the Lucky X Gaming is interested in it, and then you could apply what I just said in terms of what you could change about it. But as is, this list I think is fine. You could switch things around, but I could easily recommend this to someone. We're coming in at $750 before tax, of course, and we're getting a 6600 in it. So, very solid. Craig Lilly says, I've never met an EVGA power supply I didn't like. There are some bad EVGA power supplies. So, the thing about power supplies is do not focus on the brand or the company that sells it. It's definitely, you gotta look at model specific. Not all PSUs from a certain company are going to be the same across the board. EVGA has some actually dangerous models. I think it's the N1 is the famous one from EVGA, right? That's found in like the might burn your house down tier. But yeah, a lot of the EVGA ones are pretty solid though. They usually are C tier and above, but not all of them. BQ is worse than the GD, I'm pretty sure. BQ, let's see what the BQ is. Let's take a look at the PSU tier list. What I'm really happy about is Gamers Nexus. I really hope they hit all like the budget segment of power supplies, because as nice as it is to get like an A tier power supply, for most people, I'm not sure if like it's really worth it. Especially people who are building with lower budgets, like $600-700, it is not worth it to spend $120 on a power supply. There are plenty of capable B and C tier units for like sub $70, maybe sub $60 that you can get. But let's look at BQ. So the EVJ BQ, and there's no wattage specific to it. Yeah, so the BQ is a C tier. It's on the same as the GD 2019 variant. So let me zoom in right here so you can see. So the GD, this one right here, GD 2019, they're both equal. You could look at the individual reviews or on the spreadsheet to see how close they are in terms of like their actual performance. But from quick look, they're located on the same tier, which again, I do not agree with this being low end. Let me see. Can I change this? Inspect. Can I change this to low end? Yeah, we're gonna change that to say entry. No. Yeah, let's say entry level. I think that's a nicer way of saying it. We just reworded the tier list right here. I think this is a much more low, falls in like low, medium, high, where entry level doesn't necessarily mean it's bad or has any issues with it. I think this is a much friendlier way to categorize it. Kevin Ngo has an EVGA 600 watt BQ. Yeah, I've used plenty of BQ units over the years. I've rarely had a PSU. I don't think I've ever had one in my own system die. And in systems I've built for other people, which there are a lot out there now, I've only ever had problems with like the refurbished EVGA $20 units. And that's like years afterwards. So for $20, and you're getting well beyond the 1-year warranty that it provides, I'd say it's worth it. And it doesn't kill the rest of the system. So, for budget systems, it could still be viable. Bubble Tea Builds. What's up, Dilly? Dilly Tran, aka Bubble Tea Builds in the house. Refurb A-tier units at sub $70 is my go-to. Yeah, so refurb A-tier units. I'm trying to think what the cheapest A-tier unit is going at all times. I don't focus on it too often just because in a lot of use cases, it's just not worth it. Like B-tier is plenty. And for like, if you're going to look at price to performance, B-tier would be where it's at. A-tier is like, if you have like $2,000, $3,000 builds, then for sure, by all means. But otherwise, I think most people will be perfectly happy with the B-tier unit. Tier A technically actually gives you more FPS now that you think about it. What do you mean by that? Let's see. Pinky Tech says, it would be nice for them to look at budget PSUs just that don't have reviews and thus are scored badly. That is true. So one thing about the PSU tier list is, I'm not sure how familiar everyone is with it, but there are different like categories. Like, so let's look at here, the tier A high end. You have, so they separated by multi and single rail, but if you notice, every tier level has this lower priority units, and the lower priority units, and I guess I'm not sure what the speculative position is. I need to look into that. But the lower priority units is they've made the best guess that they can based on the information that they know, but there's not a dedicated review where they could pull information from to rank it up here in the actual categorization. So the lower priority units is like there's missing information. So you have that down here in like the B tier as well. Every tier has that. So just be wary of that and, you know, do with that information what you will. I would still, for the most part, trust their low priority unit categorizations, but not everyone is willing to dig into like the dirt and do more research. Bubble Tea Build says tier A gives you the headroom to overclock more comfortably. I mean, true, but you could also get a way cheaper B tier like 850 watt unit to still have plenty of headroom to overclock, and it'll still be cheaper. So I don't know if that's a good justification for the A tier. But I mean, to be honest, there's nothing wrong with spending more on the power supply. It's just that some people can't. They have fixed budgets, and you know, it's just not worth it to spend more. If you have enough to spend for an A tier, there's no fault in doing so, because having the best power supply, which could arguably be one of the most important components in a system, you know, just paying for the best just keeps you, hopefully makes it last longer and keeps your system safer in the case of anything going wrong. Puza Bangsa says, "Hey Dan, want to ask you about GPU. What is the best for an i7 2630QM? Isn't that a laptop mobile processor? Are you using that in a desktop? For the best GPU to go with that, you're definitely going to be looking in the used realm. An i7 2630QM. What is this thing? 2630QM. So let's take a look. 4 cores, 8 threads, 2.9 gigahertz. Okay. It is Sandy Bridge. I mean, yeah, we're talking about a Sandy Bridge, and this one's mobile, though. So I wouldn't pair anything stronger than like a GTX 970 with it, honestly. GTX 970, like a 1050 Ti range, maybe an RX 580 or 570, that performance range. You're looking to spend around like 120 to 150 bucks is what I would pair with that. Okay, have people been submitting stuff? So we still technically stay true to the X dollar PC part picker list in the title. And Shauner, you saved the day. Thank you, Shauner. Yeah, you technically saved the day with this because we did look at a PC part picker list at XXX amount of dollars. It was $750. But we still stayed true to the title of this stream. I'm not going to build a system because, honestly, this is a perfect template for a system. If you want to change anything else up, it's just like changing the motherboard, processor, or the graphics card. Everything else is pretty much standard. And right now, building a PC is so simple that most budget or most builders and channels are kind of posting the same stuff. Like if you're under $700, you're probably building with an i3 12100F, if not like a 10100F type system. If you're in the $1,000 price range, you're probably gonna have a 6650 or 6600 XT. So, yeah. Let's see, Lucky X Gaming, are you still in the chat? Thanks for, yeah. So hopefully this helps. I honestly, Lucky X Gaming, I'm hoping you do build your own system, and you know, there's tons of content creators on Twitter and YouTube comments that you can go to if you have any problems. There's Discord channels. Join the Jawa Discord, which I do not have off the top of my head. But find the Jawa Discord. If anyone, Dilly, do you have it? Or Shauner, if you could post it. Join there. There's tech support channels. So many resources to build your own computer that, you know, if you want to save some money, join those and build it yourself. You are going to need a thumb drive though with Windows 10 or Windows 11. So I have videos on that. Just be sure that you're ready to go. Some people be buying all the PC parts and they don't have like a secondary computer to make the bootable thumb drive to install Windows. So definitely be wary of that. But okay. Let's see. Where is the notifications here? All right, we don't have a ton, which means that we can get to other stuff after the fact. But we do have Zane with the PC part picker list, and we'll go through that one first. What mic is this? So this mic right here is the NZXT Capsule. I don't know. I used to use the Blue Yeti before. When I changed to this, I'm not sure if people noticed like the sound quality difference, but I enjoy this, but it does have its own shortcomings. The biggest one being the volume knob not having like, it can spin infinitely, and there's no indicator as to what your volume level is. So that, I think that's the biggest complaint about it. Sound quality wise and everything else, I like it all the same. But okay, what is this? Zane. Hi, I've been trying to put together the cheapest 6900 XT PC build possible I could just for fun while minimizing bottlenecks. I was just wondering what your take on it and if you have any suggestions. So we're going for the cheapest 6900 XT system possible. Okay, and we're starting off with the 5600X. So what's the overall price? $1,500, which I can see how this is happening. Because what's the going price for 6900 XT right now? It's $900 about. We have a $900 6900 XT, so we're filling out the rest of it with $600. Yeah, so I think the 5600X can still be paired without quote-unquote bottleneck if you're running at 1440p or 4K. This should perform fine. The ID cooling tower style cooler is fine for $30. That's about their going rate. If you flip around the different brands that are available on Amazon, there are some that are like, you can sometimes get them for like $20-25 on a sale, but this is fine too. You have an ASRock B550M okay, motherboard, that's fine. You should be able, in terms of the, what's the VRMs looking like? I would imagine you should be able to get some kind of overclock, and if not, just enable precision boost overdrives, and you should be fine. Let's see, 16 gigabytes of RAM. I mean, I'd say that's fine too. You could probably squeeze out a little bit more FPS going with like faster memory, but that, I think this is fine. And if you're doing stuff like multitasking and streaming, you may be able to benefit from more memory, like 32 gigabytes, but if you're just strictly gaming, 16 is going to be fine. 1 terabyte. Wow, this is how cheap 2.5-inch 1 terabyte drives are now, $67. This is a silicon power one. They don't say if they have DRAM on here, do they? NVMe. Yeah, DRAM is not a thing that's still readily like available on PC Partpicker. Some drives they market, but some they don't. But I mean, it's a 1 terabyte SSD. Let's see. So then you got your $900 6900 XT here, and then this case, I'm curious if it would fit it. Definitely need to check the max dimensions, but this is just a Thermaltake. Pretty plain case for pretty cheap, $57. 850 watt power supply, which is enough for the 6900 XT, and then some additional fans. So yeah, I mean, there are ways to get the price down a little lower, like if you put in a 500 gigabyte SSD, things like that. But $1,500 to get a freaking 6900 XT in the system, you could give this, like if someone were to game secretly on this without knowing what the specs were, they wouldn't notice a lot of like the things that some people might point out. I think the biggest one being the RAM, and then probably the processor. People would say that it's not a good pairing, but I mean, I'd say this works. I don't know if these two fans are even necessary, really. As long as there's some airflow in here, the air will, you know, get exhausted just fine. So you can save a little bit more money by getting $15 less on this. Yeah, so it's true. The 6900 XT is overkill. If you're playing 1080p on this, you're going to be pushing so many frames that I can see the 5600X being a bottleneck. But when you up the setting, not only the settings, but the resolution, you could balance the, the quote-unquote bottleneck a little bit more. And if you're playing 4K, even more so. Obviously, I would never recommend this system actually, but for what this person is asking, just for fun, just looking at a system, what can we do to get the cheapest 6900 XT system that's still somewhat viable for $1,500? That I think this still gonna be a pretty sick system. I would just say get a lower powered graphics card and just save yourself money. The thing about buying the most like bleeding edge, high performing like part of the spectrum in tech is that this thing is gonna lose its value so quickly in 1 or 2 years. I typically like to operate in like the mid to high mid range, not like the max top range of hardware. But Zane, that was a fun discussion to look through. Thanks for submitting that. Rafi, we got Rafi on YouTube and want to see if any changes. So Rafi has a $1,000-ish build, and we're looking at a i5 12400F. Okay, that's exactly what I would put into a system at this price range. A B660M motherboard. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I think there might be one that's $10 cheaper, but this one's fine. Silicon power, 16 gigabytes of RAM for $50. Yep, that's fine. 1 terabyte Team Group NVMe drive. Did SSDs just drop by like $10 to $15? We were just seeing most 1 terabyte in the budget range drives at like around 80 to 85 not too long ago. But now we just looked at a couple. The other one was a 2.5 inch drive, but this one right here is a NVMe drive, and this one's going for $74. Probably does not have DRAM, but again, for this price, you wouldn't expect it to. You would have to spend another, I would imagine, $10 to $15 to get a DRAM specific one. And then we have a 3060 in here for $440. So, Lee Landcool 215. I love this case. So, yeah, I love this case. And then EVGA Supernova for $65. So, the biggest thing here for me personally, because again, you could always change up a build like hundreds of different ways. This RTX 3060 for $440. Are you willing to pay the NVIDIA premium tax for... Because right now, what's a 6600 XT going for? It should be $400, I believe. Right now, oh, we can get it for even cheaper. So, the 6600 XT is going to outperform the RTX 3060. You could also get it on Newegg for the same price. Like, here's a Sapphire Nitro version that is $400 with free shipping. Or I guess you can get this slightly cheaper one with $10 shipping. It's just, it works out to the same price. But there's a bunch of models on here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 models for $400 or less. You're paying 10% less because this is $440. So 10% on 400 is $40. You're getting a card that's 10% less in terms of price, but outperforms it too. But like we said earlier, NVIDIA got that strong grasp on people where they want the NVENC encoder, or they want the NVIDIA Shadow Play, or GeForce Experience, or DLSS and ray tracing. If you're okay with this build, yeah, I don't think there's any cheaper RTX 3060s. There's one for $400 actually, but this is the MSI Ventus one. They also have the EVJ one. Oh, the one at Best Buy that Kevin that's pinned to the chat. That one's also at Best Buy for $400. So if you want to save some money, you could definitely knock this down to like 400 about, from 440. But also, if you want a better performing card for even a slightly better performing card from AMD, then go for the RX 6650 XT. It depends on what games they want to play. Yeah. Wait, has Rafi been saying anything? Yo, what's up, Kuya Isaac? Yeah, Star5328 says, Lee has so many great looking / performing cases. I agree. Can any of you name a Lee case that has like been terribly reviewed or has been viewed as like horrible value for how much you're paying? I can't think of a recent Lee case that has been like pretty much all across the board to most people like a bad value. Lynnwood pretty much knocks it out of the park with all of their cases. They definitely have expensive cases, but usually you do get a premium case for it, like for the price that you pay. Like the tempered glass is nice and thick, or they have good latching on mechanisms. They have like good cable routing. They use like a nice thick gauge metal. It doesn't feel cheap and flimsy. Lynnwood definitely makes good cases. A late tuber says, what do I think about the RX 570 for 180? That's way too expensive. I mean, RX 570s, given the graphics card pricing now, should be no more than like 140, if not 130 bucks. The Lynnwood 170M. Let's take a look at that one. So, was this a badly reviewed case? Oh! Is this the ATX one? Oh, not the ATX one, mid tower? Oh, micro ATX. No, wait, 107M. Am I confusing the name? The 170M. I built in this case, but I could have sworn it had a different name. Lynnwood. Oh, it is the 170. For some reason, I was thinking it was 270. No, this case. Oh, no, the 205. Yes. So what's the difference between these two? So we got the Lynnwood Landcool 170M, which is a micro ATX case. This thing looks just like the 205M, which I have built in, and I love this case. Wait, is this one smaller? I've never built in the 170M then. I've only built in the 205M, which I love. What is this, like this is a $60 case, but I mean, yeah, it doesn't have airflow in the front. It does have side ventilation, and every build that I built in it, I've never had temperature problems. But this case, yeah, interesting. Oh, okay, I see. It's got a top mounted power supply. Is this an older version of the 205M? Yeah. Okay, so this case, it's $60. So what is so bad about this one, aside from the top mounted power supply, which normally it's a sign of like a lower cheap budget case. Aside from that, I guess without a basement, cable management gets way worse, because if you have to come in from the back, like the bottom here, as opposed to just coming straight up, there could be like clearance issues. And then it's just not as clean, right? You don't have a complete shroud to cover up all the cables that you have left over that you can stuff into there. Yeah, the 205M, this is what I thought you were talking about when I first saw it. And this case, I love. So, the 170M looks mad and it's harder to build in. So, okay, if this is a mark of Lynnwood's worst case, then I'd say that they're doing pretty well. Like, if this is their bottom of the barrel, like this is, you know, like the worst they have to offer, then I would say they're doing pretty good. Like, there are actually really bad, horrible, cheap cases out there, and this one being their worst, I would say, yeah, Lynnwood is doing solid. Sorry, but going back to the build, we just went on a rant because of Lynnwood, and I think pretty much across the board, most people like Lynnwood. Yeah, everything in this build, I would say is good. We could definitely nitpick it, but I don't think it's worth doing. Everything here looks good to go. The only thing I would nitpick is that the graphics card. So, Rafi, hopefully that helped you out. And we will move on to... No! I just got rid of the Twitter. Where did it go? Okay. Alright, so we have some more submissions now. Let's see. I have a list I want to tweet. Where exactly should I do it? I never use Twitter, lol. Should I just tweet at you? Yeah, so instructions are in the description of this stream. If you go down to the description below the video, there's instructions on how to get me to look at anything you want me to look at. So, wait, where did this all go? Okay, there's Rafi. We have Tastin 6. So currently your build, PCPartPicker, any tips how to improve it? I know the graphics card is a major thing. Okay, so Tastin, hopefully I'm saying that right, is asking for, this is their current build, what can they do to improve it? So we're gonna ignore pricing because they already have this system, but we have a Ryzen 5 1600 in here, a B450 motherboard, Corsair, so they have 32 gigabytes of RAM. They're set in terms of solid state storage. No NVMe drives, but it doesn't really matter because 2.5 inch drives are still plenty fast. And that's been tested in game loading and Windows boot times where it matters most, in my opinion. But yeah, so they're good on solid state drives. RX 580, man, what a legendary combo. Ryzen 5 1600, RX 580. That was like such a good combo for when AMD like first released Ryzen, and then the 400 and 500 series cards came out. But we got this Fantex Eclipse P350X case. Okay. All right. So looking at everything that you have, this is, so we're gonna stay on your current architecture, AM4. We're gonna keep this B450 board because it's still plenty capable. That's the great thing about AMD processors. If you built within the last like 5 years, you can still reuse the motherboard multiple times over. In terms of these two though, chat, sound off what you think should be upgraded first, because multiple opinions are always appreciated. But oh man, this is tough. They are both due for an upgrade at the same time. The processor is going to be cheaper to upgrade, but you're not going to see a huge improvement in terms of gaming performance because I'm sure in most games, the 580 is going to be the bottleneck. But with the faster processor, Windows can start to feel quick and snappy again. It's not like the Ryzen 1600 is slow, but a current Ryzen 5 processor, or Ryzen 7, it will help with other things that you don't really think about. Like if you're doing Windows updates, which is a really random thing, but like Windows updates, when you install games for the first time from Steam and stuff, a faster processor, assuming your internet isn't the bottleneck, will make it a lot faster, and just general usage overall. But in terms of gaming performance, we're going to want to hit that RX 580. How much do you have to spend is the question, because you're going to have to do them both eventually. But to upgrade first, I'd say if your system does not feel slow, if it still feels snappy enough, like it doesn't feel like it's slowing down in any particular area, and you do game a lot, that's getting like a RX 6600 is going to make like a huge difference. That's like a $300 graphics card, right? Getting any graphics card is going to make a huge difference in gaming performance. But overall, like for everything else, that upgrading the processor to like a 5600X or 56 I guess if you want to be more future-proof, a Ryzen 5800X also, but that's gonna be like 300 something, 350 plus. But yeah, Andrew Woodford says that's basically the exact build my son has, but with a 1700X. Genre says I'd get a 5600/5700X or something in that range. Yeah, so those are the two processors I would pair with it, but basically it's gonna cost nearly around the same amount of money to do either one graphics card swap or one CPU swap. To do both of them together, it's going to be in the upwards of $500, $600, $700, depending on what you end up with. So, upgrade the GPU. Let's see. The 5800X on that B450 sounds scary. Oh, yeah, actually, which one is this? Maybe we should cap out on a 5600X. This is a B450 Aorus with like half VRM coverage. Honestly, if you're running at, if you're not like overclocking, and if you're running just like with PBO where you're getting like only single core higher boost clocks, I don't think it would be that much of an issue. But I think Hardware and Box probably has a B450 roundup from a couple of years ago. When they usually do it, I think they usually pair either high-end Ryzen 7s or Ryzen 9s with it. So then you can really see what happens when you put like a top tier CPU with it, and if there's any like power issues. But I wouldn't be too concerned about it. I think it was the legendary B450 Tomahawk from MSI, the Tomahawk Max, that handled a Ryzen 9 like a champ. So you take a big risk for 5000 series on a B450. Big risk with what? You're talking about like with the like after you update the BIOS, if there's like stability issues. Why not go B550 instead? We're trying to just only upgrade what we need to. If we can keep the motherboard, I guess if you have enough, you can upgrade the processor, see if it works or not, and then upgrade the motherboard, or just stick with the Ryzen 5 to be safe. Yeah, the BIOS update isn't that big of an issue, but people are saying taking a big risk. Traveler says, I want to quit my job and go full YouTube. Should I? I mean, if you have enough saved up, you can try it. Kevin Go says yes. So yeah, wait, is Tastin in the chat? Did I miss them if they said anything? Yeah, so there's different schools of thought, right, regarding if you should match a chipset to the generation of processors it came with. But what is the point of AM4 supporting as many processors as it does from the very original chipset if it's not going to be utilized? I mean, I do understand that there are limitations with like the older chipsets, like PCIe 4.0 support, or I guess that would be the biggest one that I can think of, without actually testing the board itself, because there are valid concerns regarding like if this board will be able to supply enough power to the chip and make full use of it and all of that. But if I had to bet, at least with a non-overclocked like Ryzen 7 5800X, with just PBO enabled, I think this would run just fine. You're leaving some performance on the table from not overclocking probably, but you're also saving money from having to spend an additional $100 on a new motherboard, and you could always upgrade that down the line. Daniel Lopez has confirmed 5000 series sucks on B450. You got the a B450 Tomahawk Max 2. I've used the B450 Tomahawk Max 2 with the 5600X before. You can't get the CPU debug light to go off. That is there any threads on that? Because I did not run into that at all, and I'm curious if that's a common problem or just like a one-off with maybe that specific board. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people out there who probably kept their B450 and like X470 boards when Ryzen 5000 came out, and I wouldn't say it's been a big enough problem because there hasn't been like a wave of complaints on either social media or Reddit about it. So did Tastin ever chime in? Because otherwise, I mean, I don't know how much money they want to spend, but yeah, definitely CPU, GPU. Based on what I said, you could do either or and it won't be the wrong answer. But we will move on now. We got the best YouTube again, revised PCPartPicker list. I don't want to change. So this is like the third submission of this, so we'll go through this a little bit quicker. I don't play AAA games, but at times you do, okay? Don't want to overclock. Would not overclock this. All right, so we got a $1,000 build with a 3050 in it. They already have the case, so we're gonna ignore price because they already have some of the parts. You're not gonna overclock. You're not gonna overclock, but will when it gets old. Okay. Arctic 5. So if you're gonna overclock when the time comes, you're gonna need a more expensive motherboard. And when the time comes, when it gets old, okay, we gotta talk about this. A lot of people, I feel like they try to future-proof their systems ahead of time, so that, like, in this example, and I don't mean to call them out, but this is a perfect example. Like, they want an i5 unlocked processor, and then we're gonna have to go up to a Z690 motherboard for the overclocking capabilities. They don't want to overclock now. When the time comes and it starts feeling old, that's gonna be what, like 3-ish years from now, 2, 3, 4 years from now. I feel like at that time, most people just end up rebuilding a system. Like, they sell their system and they buy a new system, or they take out the motherboard, CPU, and stuff. They sell that and then they buy what's new at the time. In like 3 to 4 years from now, are you really gonna just overclock it, or are you gonna look at the new stuff and say, "Ooh, I want the newer CPU and stuff"? I'm all for people staying on the same platform for as long as possible, but I don't think, and I think a lot of people will probably agree with me on this, I don't think overclocking usually gets you that much of like a noticeable increase in like performance. Where now, like, we're spending, if you look at this list, we're spending $65 on a cooler, we're spending $260 for an unlocked processor, and then we're gonna have to spend nearly $200 because we're gonna go up to a Z690 motherboard. Taking a quick look at everything else, SSD looks fine except for this is a Samsung drive. We just saw a $30 less Team Group drive, but it's whatever. People want their Samsung. RTX 3050 for $250, that wouldn't be an issue at all. This power supply is definitely, in my opinion, overkill. You could get perfectly good power supplies for like $70 to $80. So looking at this list though, the argument of wanting to overclock later down the load for the once it starts feeling old, I don't know. I feel like people don't actually do that in reality. It sounds good, but they just end up usually upgrading everything. Well, it's not overclocking unless you're on AMD doesn't really come for free on Intel side of things, because AMD, and then even then you still have to sometimes upgrade the cooler. But on NVIDIA, on Intel side of things, you're not getting free performance overclocking if you're paying an additional $50 for a better motherboard that is overclocking, has overclocking enabled, and you're spending more for a K unlocked processor. Like, price to like performance per dollar, I still think the locked i5s in the 12th gen is where it's at. Plenty of performance that will last you for years to come, but still. Andrew Woodford says, definitely go for a new platform every 4 years. Save the money now and have 2 PCs then. So yeah, in terms of this list, the best the best YT, it's a personal preference thing too. There's nothing inherently wrong with what you chose here except for the motherboard, because you need a Z690 board to make use of like overclocking this. But and your power supply, this is way too expensive for a $1,000 build. But other than that, it's up to you. If you really want this, I mean, this is the going rate for the 12600K, and the motherboard is gonna be at least $200. If that's what you really want for the overclocking future-proofness, go ahead. But I would say that's not worth it. Just you can choose a slightly cheaper motherboard, and then stick with the 12400. And you know what? In 3 to 4 years, just sell it off and upgrade it when the time comes. But the overclocking headroom for the extra, how much are you spending? You're spending quite a bit more for a cooler. You're gonna be spending another $50 for the motherboard, and you're spending $70 more for the processor over a 12400. The performance versus efficiency cores is also another thing, but you could still get a 12600 locked one for cheaper than this. So it's up to you. But that's just my opinion on it. People in the chat have different opinions too. So just take whatever advice you think is most applicable to you. Hopefully that helps though. All right, we got the Joker, aka Mr. Clyburn, with this PC right now. You want to upgrade the GPU ASAP, looking at the 3060 or 1660. So we got Mr. Clyburn here, longtime viewer of the channel and supporter of the Tech Fam. So they've got a Ryzen 5 2600 B450, 32 gigabytes of RAM, 1 terabyte, and a 240 gigabyte SSD here. And then, oh my goodness, all right, here we go. GTX 760. Everything else, EVG. Oh, I think you're gonna need to upgrade your power supply too when the time comes. But then you got some fans. So Mr. Clyburn, aka Joker, in the chat right now. We're working with a GTX 760 and a 450 watt power supply. So yeah, Mr. Clyburn, definitely try up this to. I would just say, you know what, spend the 60 bucks, get that Asus Tough 650 watt one from Amazon, and you're going to be set for a really long time to come. And then you're not going to have to worry about any graphics card you throw into it, within reason. Yeah, so here, you said you're looking at the 3060 or the 1660. At this point, I don't think, like, let's take a look at what they're going for on eBay right now. Because we're going to use that as our reference. We don't... Prices can be all over the place. B-Stock might have a different price, but eBay is pretty indicative of what they're going for right now. And we need to look for... we're doing buy it now, because ain't no one trying to wait out some bids only to get sniped out. Parts only. Yeah, so pre-owned. We're looking at 1660s for no less than $200, because otherwise you're looking at parts only broken crap. So we got this $200 ones. We've got a lot of $200 ones. So we're looking at $200 versus $390 for the 3060, which is still in the pinned comments. Let me click on this real quick. See if this is still in stock. But on Newegg, they're about 400 bucks. 3060s right here for $390 at Best Buy if you go pick up. You can't buy online. So, I mean, it's double the price. But, Mr. Clyburn, did you already say if you didn't want AMD? I would say, yeah, like, if we're going over to Newegg, like, or actually, no, Amazon. Like, if you're kind of on a budget, and you're trying to spend as, like, I don't think a 3060 for 400 bucks right now is worth it over a, where's the, we just saw the here it is, this right here. We saw this earlier today, but $300 for this RX 6600. So hard to argue against this card right now. R Flat says, do people still trust Newegg after the Gamers Nexus thing? Yes. Okay, so the Gamers Nexus thing on Newegg royally screwed up. Every company is going to have issues with, like, their customer service and returns and stuff. Like, there's no company with a 100% track record. I don't know what Newegg's number is in terms of how many customers got screwed over on that. I would imagine it's in the single digits. There's no way it's more than, like, 10%. I don't think as a result of that video, they released, like, what their bad customer service rating was, or, like, based on the data that they only have internally. But it would have to be less than, like, double digits. It has to be, like, 9% or less in my... Okay, now I'm pulling that out of my own butt, but let's just say, you know, that was true. They messed up because Gamers Nexus was their customer, and they messed up multiple times in a row. I don't think that really changed how they were viewed overall by like the majority of people. Because if you think about it, Gamers Nexus, they do a lot of deep dive stuff, so they don't hit as many like consumers in terms of viewership as say like, let's say a Linus Tech Tip does, who does more overall broad content and gets like way more views and subs and stuff like that, right? So I don't think like a majority of PC parts buyers and stuff like that, they really change their shopping habits. Like, we have PC builders and flippers in here right now. We got Shauner, we got let's see, we got Jason from Drebler Gaming, we got Bubble Tea Builds. If y'all can sound off, did you stop shopping at Newegg when the Gamers Nexus video came out? Actually, everyone in the chat can sound off, whether or not you're a system builder or system flipper. Did you stop shopping at Newegg when the Gamers Nexus video came out? Because I could guarantee the majority of people didn't. It's good that the Newegg thing happened, because anytime something like that happens and there's like a publicity nightmare for a company, that pushes them to do better. But I mean, I don't think Newegg's going anywhere. They are still like probably the top online e-tailer when it comes to PC hardware. And moving forward, hopefully they just improve their customer service experience. Newegg, okay, we got Shauner chiming in, says Newegg has improved a bit post GN drama. It's hard for me to speak on it because like I do buy from Newegg, but I've never had a problem with returns or anything I bought. And yeah, anytime I had to return something, I have zero issues. So I've never been put into a situation where I've seen bad customer service from Newegg. So that's very anecdotal, but that's going to vary from person to person. But I would say it's very likely that a majority of the people had good customer service. It's usually just a bad customer service experiences that are amplified, and rightfully so. It's like if you look at Amazon reviews or Newegg reviews, most of the time, do people go and leave a product review if it works just as intended and it's working perfectly fine? Or do they go leave a product review because there's a problem with it and they want to leave a 1-star so that they can get the attention of the company? Master Singleton says, no, I still buy from Newegg. Shauner says, I buy from Newegg all the time still. Buy from where you get the best prices. I agree with that. I buy from where I can get the best prices. Bubble Tea Build says, I bought more after the Newegg video. Drebler says, I've never shopped there since 2014, to be honest. Never liked how bad they were. I buy cases sometimes if Amazon doesn't have much. Jason, I can't tell if you're trolling or not. Newegg definitely usually has the best prices compared to Amazon anyways. If you're buying locally, yeah, you're probably gonna get better used deals, but Newegg, they have typically better deals than Amazon. And obviously, oh, you have Micro Center, Jason, I forgot. That's probably why. But yeah, we kind of went on a rant there. Sorry about that. Mr. Clyburn, if you're I'm assuming you're still in the chat. For the graphics card, I would say please strongly consider getting the 6600. If you are just stuck on Nvidia, go to EVJB stock and get this. Where's it at? You can get this right now. EVJB stock, I've bought a number of these over the years. Not this specific card, but graphics cards. You get 1 whole year to test the card and make sure there's no issues. If there's any apparent issues, just you using it within that year, it should pop up. But if it lasts longer than that, then you're likely good to go. 269. Oh wait, this is a 3050. Yeah, for 300, I take that back. Go for the 6600. Do they even have 3060s on here right now? For a decent price? 3060 for 370? That's still too expensive. Yeah, I would say go with this. If not, then pick whatever Nvidia card that you want. But I can't recommend any of them right now, really. Because they're 400 bucks at least. Oh, 6600. 6600 is better than a 3050. Other Jason says, I wish this Jason had a micro center, lol. Don't we all wish we had micro centers nearby? I'm calling it within the next 4 years. Hold me to this. You can clip this and save this in your archives. By the year 2026, summer 2026, if not beforehand, there will be a micro center in Seattle or somewhere in Washington State, nearby Seattle. Or you can come to Toronto and get a GTX 1070 Strix for 200 USD. I think in the US, the 1070s, from what we were looking at, they are going for 200 USD right now. But let's take a look today and see if the price has gone down at all. We got all these parts only ones. Lots of parts only. How many people have broken 1070s? Jeez. Yeah, we have some that aren't broken for around 200 bucks as well. So in the States, they're about 200. The Mr. Clyburn has a micro center near. Oh my goodness. What? You have a micro center near you. Please go to your micro center. I know their RX 6000 cards are priced very well right now. You may be able to get some close to MSRP RTX cards. Let's just take a look. Yes, but please go to the micro center. Also, if you ever do a CPU and motherboard upgrade, micro center right now has $50 off Ryzen 5600Xs as well as 5800Xs. I think it's a first time customer deal, but there's that too. So if you do want to upgrade processors, let's take a look at what their cheapest 3060 is. The cheapest 3060 at Micro Center is $389. Okay, so everything's about 400 bucks or so. But yeah, I'm not sure how much that helped Mr. Clyburn, because you got a kind of tough choice. You stay with the Nvidia and pay the premium, or you get this awesome $300 RX 6600. Yeah, so it's the first time customer at Micro Center. I should know this, because that's gonna be one of my talking points coming up soon. I haven't recorded the video yet. It's a pleasure? Yeah, right. It is not a pleasure to pay more money for the same or equal performance. Alright, we got Ceviche with an S. This is my personal build that I had for some time. Just wondering if you see if possible upgrades. Alright. They have a 9700K. We're going to ignore prices because they already have the system. A Kraken X53 AIO. Z390 board, 16 gigs. Okay, 1 terabyte. Spinner drive, 1 terabyte SSD. A 3070. Okay, so you are good to go for your graphics card. For the case, the 220T from Corsair. I love this case. EVJ W1. Okay, is this the... So this power supply specifically, if you're building a low budget system, I can understand, because, you know, the W1 is the EVJ B stock $20 special, and I've used those just fine. When you start pairing it with more powerful cards like the 3070, you start to want to worry a little bit more. Plus, we're like way off balance here, right? We have a 3070 in here. This system is definitely worth like a decent chunk of money due to the graphics card alone. The graphics card, or this is like a $20 to $40 PSU. And this is one situation where looking at the tier list should at least get your eyebrows raised, so that you should look into it more. But EVGA W1, replace immediately tier. It's right here. Again, I've used this power supply before. Tons of any budget builder out there has used this power supply before, because EVGA used to sell these all the time for $20. And they can work just fine on lower powered systems, but you start to worry once you start actually pushing towards the limit of it. So that's my first thing. If you want to upgrade something because you have like money that you're just dying to spend, look into a new power supply. Afterwards, honestly, this system isn't too bad. I mean, the 9000 series Intel stuff is starting to get, I wouldn't even call it old, but you know, it's 3 generations past now. So in terms of immediate future upgrades, it's definitely gonna be, you're gonna be changing off of this this chipset. You could definitely last long enough to go into Intel's 13th or even maybe 14th gen. Memory, if you notice yourself having memory issues, you could go up to 32 gigabytes. If you're only gaming, you're probably fine at 16. And then I think for most people, storage is an area where they don't pay too much attention to because it doesn't have like performance gains per se, but everyone can always use more storage. I can never have enough storage. So looking at your motherboard, it should have an M.2 slot. Yeah, it has an M.2 slot. If you want to, for a quick easy upgrade, just get an M.2 SSD, no extra cables, get a terabyte one at least, and then just, you know, get your storage game up a little bit more. But otherwise, your system's fine. There's nothing that's in need of dire upgrade except for maybe this power supply. Yeah, and then of course, like, so Jason plays games too. That PSU lasted me to resell it at least 10 plus years of heavy use. Or actually, no, never mind. You're not talking about this one. But there's always gonna be like plenty of stories of people using this power supply just fine. But just given the rest of your system, it looks like there is some spare money to be spent on the power supply. So hopefully that helps. That's all I can think of anyways. The rest of your system is very solid. Like, you don't have to worry about it too much. Alright, we're gonna look at one last thing. Sorry to anyone else, which we did have a few afterwards. But we're getting into 2 hours of stream now, and I do need to wrap this up. We do need to finish packing and figuring out what dinner is tonight. Because we still have our stove, but all of our pots and pans are packed up. Alright, we have Master Singleton with the $770 PCPartPicker list. $770. Alright. This is one of the best processors you can choose for this price range. We've got a decently nice cooler on here, an ASRock H610 motherboard. I'm not a fan of H610 just because, let's take a look at this thing. Is there any other pictures? There's not. For that, it's gonna work fine, but in terms of feature set, is there an M.2 slot on here at all? Is that on the backside? I can't see from these pictures, but let me see if I can pull it up. Because what I would say is, can you move the money around elsewhere? So if we look on the backside, am I blind or is there just no M.2 slot? This is this is a micro ATX board. It's a H610M. M.2. This might not have an M.2 slot. Yeah, so on the back side there's none. On the front side there's no heat sinks covering it. And just to make sure, we'll go down to the specs. M.2, let's see, spec ports onboard. It's not looking like it. I mean, we don't physically see it, but I don't know. Sometimes I am blind to the most random stuff. But it looks like there is an M.2 version that costs way more. And on this one, you can see it right there. So you can see the M.2 slot right here on this one. But this other version, isn't it strange in the year 2022 on a 12th gen Intel platform, they're making motherboards that can't even be bothered to have an M.2 slot? I mean, I understand it's $80, it's cheap. But there are AMD motherboards that even have that for this price or even less. Like, why are they cutting so many corners on this? Yeah, this is not an ATX board. It's a micro ATX board. Micro ATX. But yeah, so with this board, I don't know. For me, I like USB-C. At least one port, if not a front side header. If not one on the back. And then not having M.2, I don't know. That's, for me, also pretty important. Just less cables to worry about. And like you don't have to worry about mounting it anywhere. No, there's no M.2 on the back, Shauner. I looked. I know my ITX boards typically have it on the back. But there is no M.2 slot on this board whatsoever, which is strange. I don't think I've come across one, but this is gonna be the first one, I guess. So this is the first time for everything. Yeah, so I would look into getting a different H610 board, if not a B660 board. I know the price does jump up like at least 30 bucks, but to be honest, this cooler is not totally necessary. If you're getting this cooler, you're getting it for the acoustics and the looks, because the stock cooler can handle a 12100F just fine. It's just not as quiet, and it runs, the temperatures are gonna be fine too. So what you can do is maybe get a cheaper, like an ID cooling cooler for 25 bucks, save 20 bucks, and then put it towards the motherboard. Because honestly, I think the motherboard is more of a priority than a cooler when this comes with a free cooler that you can use. But 16 gigabytes of RAM looks fine. I believe the 12100F supports up to 3200 megahertz. So if you want to, you can spend a couple of extra bucks to get a 3200 megahertz kit. Then you have this 500 gigabyte SSD. This is way too expensive. Is Master Singleton here? Or did he have to leave already? Has not said anything yet, but yeah. Oh, the reason you're choosing this 2.5-inch drive is because you can't use NVMe. But even so, $60 for 500 gigabytes, that's a bad dollar per gigabyte ratio. There should be other comparable drives that are in like the $45-ish territory. So I'll save you 15 bucks. This is perfectly fine right here. It's $300 for a 6600. The AeroCool Bolt, I mean, this is just one of the budget cases under 60 bucks. Again, PC cases, for probably due to shipping and import and tariffs and stuff, are way more expensive than they were like 4 or 5 years ago. We used to find so many like budget cases in the $30 to $40 realm, and those are just non-existent now. You're pretty much paying at minimum $50 for any kind of usable decent case. But the AeroCool Bolt, I think this is mostly closed off. Let's see. I've never built in this case specifically, but case is definitely one of those subjective areas. People are gonna like different aesthetics, so it's kind of up in the air. You can choose whatever. It's not gonna be a thermal issue with these parts. And then for the power supply, we got a way too expensive MSI MPGA 650 watt for 85 bucks. Yeah, we could definitely shave like 20 to 30 bucks off of this with a compatible power supply. So we can move things around a little bit. But yeah, for me, it's gonna be the motherboard and the power supply I would change, and this cooler. AeroCool makes that case you put Casey's PC in. Hate them. Yeah, that case isn't the best. I feel bad because here's the thing. Casey has never complained about a single dang thing in his life almost. And at the time that I used the AeroCool case, here's the case that I use for Casey's build. It's the Cylon. This is the case I put the build that I did for Casey in. When I built it for him, the LAN party was like 2 days away. This was one of the only, and it was one of the most affordable and 1-day shipping cases available. So I went with it, okay? Don't worry, we're gonna hook Casey up. I'm pretty sure he's not watching the stream right now. He's either sleeping or working or something probably, but we're gonna hook Casey up next LAN. But yeah. Yeah, the silicone power RAM, I'm pretty sure we can find a $55 kit that's 3200 megahertz from like Team Group or something. It looks ugly, but I would say I'm gonna prioritize the motherboard, the power supply, and then the cooler. Like ugly RAM that even 200 megahertz slower is not gonna be as drastic as of a change as these other things. Yeah, Vulcan Z's are 55 bucks right now, I believe. I think we just saw it earlier. Casey's PC is not looking too bad right now. He himself upgraded to a 5600X because the motherboard that I put in there, was it a B450 board or the B350? It's one of the two. Yeah, it upgraded fine. I helped him with the BIOS update. So his PC is not like horrible. A lot of people complained that I gave him a Ryzen 3 processor, but he's been enjoying it. But don't worry, we're gonna be hooking him up. But all right, that's gonna be it for the Twitter stuff. Thanks for everyone who submitted. If you submitted and I was not able to get to your stuff, oh, and we got a meme. We got a meme from Drevler Gaming. I'm gonna open this up because it's not gonna take any mental capacity. But for the rest of the stream, for the next 10-15 minutes, I'm just gonna hang out and chat, see what everyone's talking about. But this has been a pretty successful stream. But let's take a look at this meme real quick. I'm not even on this list because I have, technically I'm a lawful evil, but I'm ultra wide, so I'm a cooler lawful evil. But I stack my monitors like this, like y'all have seen it. It's stacked on top like that. So I'm a lawful evil, but what is everyone else in the chat? Lawful neutral, true neutral, just a single. It's been a long time since I've used solely one monitor. I do it when I do the benchmarks because my benchmarking station is a single monitor setup, but in terms of daily driving, I have not single monitored for well over a decade. Like, as soon as I could have a 2-monitor setup, which was going to college, I had a laptop. I was a lawful neutral throughout a lot of college. I had my laptop with an external monitor. And then at some point in time, I went to lawful good. I had a 3-monitor setup going. But it's just too much. You got your bezels in here, and then, like, do you really need 3 screens? I guess if you're, like, watching stock markets or, like, crypto prices all day, you can have one constantly on the screen. But when I had 3 monitors, I never truly utilized it because my mind cannot be split that many ways and be, like, actively, useful. I like some of these other ones. Chaotic good with the 2 mismatching monitors. Then we got the people who like code or read news articles and they like their vertical layout here. And then we got this chaotic evil. Neutral evil is pretty funny too. Let's see who we got. We got JG Wright. What is up, man? We got the chaotic evil. Let's see. Chaotic evil. Oh, JG, how many monitors do you have? Master Singleton is a true neutral. Drevlers, I haven't done one monitor since 2009. You're spoiled. Yeah, same here. I think that 2007-ish. But that's like around the same time frame. Yeah, it's been a long time. Chaotic evil is way too crazy. I agree. Let's see. Top Gun. Oh, we can talk about Top Gun. So, up until recently, let's talk about movies and stuff. That's pretty fun. So, I watched last weekend, or no, on Friday, my wife and I, we both had the day off. So we went to see the matinee showing of Bob's Burger movie. We went to the 10:45 showing of Bob's Burger. There was 4 total people in the theater. It was me, my wife, and then like 2 other people. Bob's Burger movie, if you like Bob's Burger, it was enjoyable. But it's like a lot of what happens when you have a TV show adapted to a movie. In terms of like the graphics get slightly better, there's some shading, but then like the storylines are sometimes weird because it has to be extended for like a 90 to 120 minute runtime. So it, like they said, they have to fill it with a little bit more musicals, and then they have to like kind of give it a more filled out storyline as opposed to like a 30-minute episode, right? So I'd say it was worth watching, but it wasn't like amazing. But also, we watched, my wife had never seen Top Gun before. I have seen parts of Top Gun. I've never seen the full thing. I've seen bits and pieces of it, like when it was on TV or like through YouTube clips, but I've never watched it fully. So we sat down. It's free on Netflix until, actually, I think it's not on Netflix anymore. I think it only went till the end of May. We watched Top Gun from start to finish, and me having like a lot of people in the military in my life, like my stepfather, friends, other family. I appreciate it because, you know, when you recognize stuff from like military, it makes more sense than someone who watches it and doesn't like have any appreciation or any care for the military. So the original Top Gun I think was good, and I hear Top Gun 2 is really good, and I'm excited for it, because it's gonna be like almost the perfect continuity, right? Like, it's been, Top Gun was what year? 85, 87, around there. So it's been like 20 something years since the first movie, and the way how much Tom Cruise has aged, and how much, I don't want to spoil what the story is about, but how much like the main character would have aged between the movies, it perfectly makes sense. So it's crazy how they actually waited the amount of time it would have taken for the characters to age in between the movies. But the reviews of it are really good. Top Gun 1 was good. Some people are saying part 2 is better than the first, so I'm very excited to watch it. I'm not sure if I can convince my wife to spend money to watch it in theaters though, so I may have to wait for it to go on digital for us to watch through like whatever you know, network it's on, Paramount Plus or HBO or whatever. Jucifer says, can confirm Top Gun 2 is good. Out of 10, what would you rate it? Shauner says, yeah, my friends and I are going to marathon all Jurassic Park and Jurassic World movies. How many Jurassic Parks have there been? Let's see. I remember the first 3. The first one is Jurassic Park, then the second one is The Lost World, and then the third one is where that T-Rex, or like the main apex, got like super long, weird looking arms, right? But then after that, how many were there? Are we at like 7 or 8 Jurassic Park / worlds now? I'm not a huge Jurassic Park / world fan. That's definitely something where I'm going to wait till it's on streaming to watch. I don't think I'm going to pay money to watch it in theaters. Oh, 1986. 36 years. Did I just get my math completely wrong? It's been 36 years, not 20 something years. Oh my goodness. I was a whole decade off. It's weird. Honestly, I don't feel like a 30 something year old. I feel like a 20 something year old. So I oftentimes get my time frames off by a whole decade. I think this is the 7th all Jurassic Park movies. Let's take a look. We have Wikipedia to help us with this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It is 7. Wow. And the first one was in 1993. Probably an 8 out of 10. Don't want to spoil anything. Okay. Yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, as long as the movie's like a 7.5 out of 10, I'm good for it. I don't need a movie to be spectacular or amazing to be worth watching, or to be worth watching once. There are so many movies out there that people hate on, and I just think like, hey, I'm glad I watched it. I probably won't watch it again, but it was worth watching at least once, so I just have it in my memories and, you know, just in like my bank of information. So yeah, as long as the movie's like a 7.5 or above, I'm good with it. Starting to go below it, then I start to question whether or not I wasted money or wasted time. But Amber Heard. Speaking of, have y'all been following the Amber Heard case or the trial? Johnny Depp apparently have won. I saw that earlier today on like Twitter and the news. I didn't follow it that closely. I just watched other streamers kind of react to it here and there. But yeah, it's so weird how like a court case like that went so public and streamers and YouTubers were watching and reacting to it. Star Wars sequel was a waste of time. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, so I don't have any strong opinions on Star Wars. My wife likes Star Wars, so that's how I've watched them. But I didn't grow up watching Star Wars. Like, I think it's, yeah, I think I've said this before. Star Wars is one of those things where when you watch it as a kid, then you kind of love it for life type of thing. I guess not everyone. Some people hate the newer ones. But I didn't watch Star Wars as a kid, so I was never interested in the franchise. Which is kind of unfortunate because Star Wars is a huge franchise. There's tons of movies and tons of content coming out, you know, based on it. But I never got into it. Screw Amber Heard, says Christopher Coonan. Johnny won, good. Yeah, so that's one of the things where it's like there's so much that happened behind closed doors, I'm not gonna say like people should believe Amber Heard or not. It's tough because it's like a domestic dispute, right? Like there's always two sides to every story. Again, I didn't follow the trial that closely, so it's hard to say like what was shown to the public versus what happened behind closed doors. But based on what I've seen, I would side with Johnny Depp. There was some stuff that Amber Heard apparently did that seemed a little, you know, a little crazy. So, yeah. You should watch Everything Everywhere All at Once. Very funny movie. Funny that you bring that movie up because I think I'm gonna watch that relatively soon. And Jason, Dribbler Gaming Podcast, knows what I'm talking about, right? Jason, if you're still there. Ooh, one thing that I did watch though, Melissa and I, we watched Stranger Things season 4 in one day, which I think it was 7 episodes long, roughly 1 hour per episode. So yeah, that's what we also did this weekend. So I lied. Not only did we pack to get ready for the remodel, we also watched a lot of Stranger Things. So Stranger Things season 4. It's so weird because they waited so long in between seasons. And now all the kids are like freaking full-blown adults. But season 4 was pretty good. Honestly, I didn't remember much of seasons 2 and 3. They weren't as memorable for me as season 1 was. But I you know, we were watching season 4 like back to back, and we couldn't stop. It was like we were, you know, that drawn into it. So if you haven't watched it yet, I would say it's worth the watch. You've been gaming? Oh, I have been gaming a little bit as well. Usually at night. Stranger Things is fire. The black guy plays basketball now. What, the actor from Stranger Things? I personally like binge watching. I don't like having to wait 1 week between episodes. But where is the thing from my... Okay. So, if y'all watch Stranger Things Season 4, you may have seen my tweet about this on Twitter too. But there's a song that's very popular right now from it. And let me bring this up. This song is very popular right now due to Stranger Things Season 4. It's the song that Max is listening to.
You should know. Yeah, we played it for a lot. This reminds me of Zuba.
Okay. Me, Margarita are ready to go. Okay. Oh, wait. Yeah, you... Margarita. Sorry, never mind.
What I'm trying to say is, we were on top of that trend. What year was this? When was this LAN Party Stories video? This was June 7th, 2019. So we were 3 years ahead of its time in terms of, you know, jamming out to that song. I'm just saying, if you haven't seen this LAN Party Stories, this is the first time it was at my house. Definitely check it out. It was a good one. But yeah. Same shirt? Not same shirt. This one has the design on it. Yeah, please do not spoil anything about season 4 for people who are still watching it. But yeah. Grilled Sydney has a collab with Stranger Things Season 4 and have limited edition Demogorgon Burger. Wonder what's in that. He's on the school basketball team. Yeah, that's interesting to me. Like, when people are... I would imagine Stranger Things are paying all the main actors and actresses enough money to be, like, set for life. But maybe I'm wrong. But after 4 seasons... I feel like that's in the multi-million-dollar territory, which if you invest that, that's enough to be set for life. So the fact that the actor is still going to school and playing basketball, even though, you know, money is an issue, I think that's pretty cool. If I was set for life, I would probably sit on my butt and play video games, and I'd probably still do YouTube. Like, if money was an issue, I would do YouTube for fun, and it would be even better because I wouldn't even have to, like, worry about analytics or anything like that. You could just make content without fear of, you know, how do I say it? Being chained to the AdSense and ad revenue and sponsors and stuff like that. Yeah, definitely they need to invest. There's like, if you watch TikTok and YouTube and stuff, you'll see there's like a wide range of like young content creators in terms of people who, when they make a lot of money, they flex and spend a lot of that money, versus other ones that, you know, take that money and put it either into the market, buy a property, or do something like that so that they have long-lasting, multi-generational wealth. But I see a lot of people, what happens is they blow up, but because you have a certain shelf life on YouTube or TikTok and stuff, the money and fame doesn't last forever. So if you spend up all your money and then you fall off, then you have to go back to working a full-time job. So yeah, if any of you out there ever come across any money, please do not spend it all just because you can. Invest and make smart financial decisions, please. Hey, see you, Kevin Go. Yeah, we're going to end here in a little bit. We are running a little bit later than usual. All American season 4 just came out. Okay, I gotta watch that. I do watch All American. I've seen all the other seasons, so yeah, I gotta watch that. What's better to overkill, CPU or GPU? I would say a CPU will last longer. CPUs typically last longer than GPUs do. Like, you can use a 10-year-old CPU right now and get a better gaming experience than if you use a 10-year-old graphics card in the same like mid-range. So I would say CPUs. If you overkill now, it does tend to last longer. But yeah. All right, that's gonna wrap it up for the stream though. Thank you everyone who was a part of the stream. Thank you to all the channel members, all the viewers who are here normally, and then of course all the moderators that do keep chat lit the whole time, as well as removing all those weird porn adverts that come on. Well, I don't know where they come from, how they find me, but yeah. This weekend, I'm going to be working the next 4 days like crazy because one of my parts came in late for my build upgrade video. So I got to do the build. I'm going to do an ASMR video with it as well. And it's going to like tie in multiple benchmarks for multiple graphics cards. So it's going to be a ton of work. And I'm trying to get that out by the weekend. So probably Sunday. So be on the lookout for that. Other than that though, hope you all have a great rest of your weekend. And yeah, stay safe out there. And I will see you in next week's stream. And hopefully the comments of this weekend's coming video. See you everyone. Have a good night.